Hello and welcome to Uniting Wizards. Today I will answer your most frequently asked questions about Hogwarts Mystery. First, if you're not already subscribed, take a moment to do that now because I will continue to give you updates and tips and tricks about Hogwarts Mystery. And if I don't answer all of your burning questions in this video, post them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them after the fact. The first question I want to answer is, what is the best thing to choose as a reward for classes? Because there are 6 different things that you can get to choose from. And it is coins, it is gems, it is energy, and it is one of the 3 attributes: courage, empathy, and knowledge. You get to choose between 3 of these each time. So which one you want to pick rather depends on how you want to play the game. If you are desperate for any extra energy you can get, then of course you should probably pick energy if you get that choice. As your second choice you should have gems, because you can use those to pay for energy. Bear in mind that 1 energy point is worth 2 gems, so if you get to choose between 1 energy point and 1 gem, pick the energy, and if you get to choose between 1 energy point and 7 gems, you should pick the gems because they are more worth it in the long run. If you pay for energy or you don't mind the waiting time, then pick one of the 3 attributes. Do not pick coins. Seriously, they're useless. Not quite, but you get them very quickly anyway, and they're used for virtually nothing unless you want to customize your avatar. If you do want to customize your avatar, if there is a specific piece of clothing or an accessory that costs coins that you want, I still say don't pick coins unless you get at least 1,000 of them. So a follow-up question to this is, of course, which attribute is the best one to pick? Again, there is no clear answer to this, because none of the attributes is more useful than the other ones. Sometimes in the game there are things that you can't do unless you have a high enough level in a certain attribute. But even there is no one attribute that is more often useful in that situation than any of the others. There are also some tasks, specifically dueling and bonding with your friends, where you are recommended to have a certain amount of each attribute. For those you can start the task even if you don't have enough of the attributes, but it gets a little bit harder. But again, depending on how you want to play the game, there is no one attribute that is better than the others. I mean, if you want to play the game as a pure Gryffindor and always choose the brave thing to do, then maybe you should level up courage before you level up the others. Personally, my advice is pick whatever attribute that is either offered the most of or that you have the least of. So if you're offered 5 courage or 40 empathy, I would pick the empathy, because 40 is quite a few points. It gets you a long way. However, if you're offered 10 courage and 10 knowledge, pick whichever one of those that is the lowest of your stats. I do it like that because I like having my attributes as close to equal as I can. Next question that is very common is, what is the leaderboard all about? And a related question, can we play with other people? So the leaderboard supposedly shows who has earned the most points to their house, but the only real person in the leaderboard is you. All of the other names are NPCs. You will see Rowan's name and Marilla's and other names of NPCs in the game. I sort of hope they will implement that, give us a rundown of everyone who's playing the game and how they're doing, how many points they have. Of course, there are a lot of people playing the game, so that might be a very long leaderboard, but at least maybe let us add our friends to be able to see how they are doing. That would be fun. Right now, however, you can't do that. This game is strictly single player. You cannot interact with your real friends in the game. Another question related to this is, why is my house 4th in the run for the House Cup? And what can I do about it? I mean, the answer to why is basically because Snape's keep taking points from you. That's what he does. Another reason could be if you keep failing your classes. The solution, apart from trying to be polite when teachers ask you a question, because then they might give you points for that, but the other solution is do more classes. Even when the game doesn't require you to, you are able to go to whichever classroom you want and just take a class for fun. So do that as much as you can and pick 8-hour classes and you will climb pretty quickly. And then we have a few questions about classes specifically. One of them is, why do I have to do classes over again? This question is often asked in regard to required classes. When there is a spell or something that you are going to learn, you have to do that class more than once in order to actually learn it. It's not entirely obvious, but what you're actually doing is unlocking the class where you actually learn this spell. So you have to earn 5 or sometimes more stars in order to do the actual class. And I know this seems a bit weird to a lot of people, and I thought it was weird first too, but then I started thinking about this as a course rather than a class. Because I mean, in school you don't just take one class and then you've learned everything there is to know about that subject. You have to take a few classes before you can take a test, and that test will give you a grade and a little piece of paper that proves that you learned something. So think of it that way, you're doing classes in order to unlock the test, and then after that test you actually learned the spell. Next question on classes is, what happens if I don't finish a class on time? This is of course a legitimate worry if you're taking a 3 or 8 hour class and your energy runs out and you forget to go back, or you get distracted, you don't have time to go back in time to actually finish the class. Most of the time you don't have to worry though. If it's a class that only requires 1 star to pass, as long as you've gotten that star, which you will if you've gone in with a full energy bar to start with, then you've passed the class and you don't get punished for not finishing. You don't get the extra rewards that you would have gotten if you'd gone back and actually finished the class, but no points or anything will be taken from you. Unless you're doing a class that requires more than 1 star to pass and you haven't gotten all of those stars. So the classes that I refer to as tests, for example, you tend to have to get 5 stars in order to finish, and then you have to remember to go back and finish that class, because otherwise if your time runs out and you haven't gotten all of the stars that are required to pass the class, you lose house points and you have to start the class over again. Another question is, what if I fail the focus or the question or the actual casting of the spell in the class? And the answer is nothing really happens. The teacher will frown at you and you won't get the bonus that you would have gotten if you'd managed the focus or answered the questions correctly. But you're not punished and you can continue the class anyway. Sometimes one answer will give you house points when another answer will see points taken away from you, but apart from that, those choices don't matter a lot. Sometimes you will have to choose between having one friend help you out with something or another friend. That matters a little bit more because then you strengthen the friendship with the friend that you choose, and then later maybe you won't have the option of even asking the other friend for help because they will be pissed at you for not bringing you the first time or something. That's not actually what it says, it just says that you don't have a strong enough friendship with this person yet. But in the long run, the story is set. You will accomplish the same things just in slightly different ways depending on how you choose to answer questions or which friends you choose to bring. But the overall story will play out exactly the same either way. So if you're having a hard time choosing, be safe in the knowledge that in the grand scheme of things, your choices don't matter at all. That's an encouraging lesson to learn. Sorry. There is no right or wrong option, is a slightly less negative way to put that. Next question. I'm stuck. The game won't let me continue. What do I do? If you've finished year 2 and you're stuck in the beginning of year 3, you're out of luck because there is no more in the game right now. We're still waiting for an update that will put year 3 in the game. But until then, keep leveling up, keep increasing your stats, and practice your waiting skills. Sorry, I had to. Otherwise, if it's not in the beginning of year 3 you're stuck, I assume you have checked that you've done all of your classes. Make sure that you don't have any little exclamation points anywhere, because there are some things you have to do in order to continue to the next chapter. If you can't find anything like that, the answer is to contact Jam City's customer support. There is a way to do this inside of the game, through the settings and in the help section, where there's also a troubleshooting alternative, so you can try to figure out what's wrong on your own. But if that doesn't help, there are also links that will let you contact customer support. So moving on to questions that are not about the gameplay. One of these questions is, can this game be played on insert device here? Or why can't I download the game? This game is compatible with iOS devices and Android devices. If you can't install it and it says that this game is not compatible with your device, it might be that your phone is too old. If you're on an Android device, you need to have version 4.4 or a later one in order to download the game. And on iOS devices, you need to have version 9.0 or a later one. The game also requires your phone to have 1.6 gigabytes of RAM. So if your phone doesn't live up to these demands, then that's probably why you can't download it, or why the game doesn't work if you have downloaded it. However, if your device lives up to these demands and you still can't download it or find it, again, I have no better answer than contact Jam City's customer support, and I'm sure they will be able to sort it out. Next question, and it's a big one. Can I reset the game? The short answer is yes. Although there is no way to do it inside of the game itself, it is still possible to reset the game. The easiest way to do it is to contact Jam City and ask them to do it for you. From what I've seen, they seem to do that if you ask. If you don't want to do that, here is one other option that I know will work. First, make sure that your game is not linked to Facebook. Second, install the game on a different device. If you have an extra phone or a tablet lying around, you can use that. If you don't have that, find a friend or a family member who's not going to play the game and use their device. Install the game on this other device and link that game to Facebook. After that, go to the game on your original device again and log in via Facebook, and you will be able to play this new game instead of the old one. I haven't tried this myself, but I have heard from people that I trust that it's worked for them. So those are the questions that I wanted to answer with this video. Again, if you have any other questions that I didn't answer, feel free to post them in the comments, and I will answer them if I can, and if I don't have the answer, I will try to figure it out for you. I hope this video helped you, and I hope to see you again. Until next time.